Hello people of the world who are watching. I, to my shame, just discovered that it's Alex Lifeson's birthday from Rush. So, to celebrate, I'm going to rank all her albums. Luckily I know their discography pretty well, although like all my rankings they will be like interchangeable and stuff. So, let's get going, shall we? So, I put them the wrong way around. From my least favourite is the original version of Vapor Trails. That's mostly just because of the production. The actual album isn't that bad actually. The music's perfectly good, to be honest. It's just the production is atrocious. And I can't get past it, so that's why it's last. Next up, a similar reason, Clockwork Angels. It's a pretty good album. I don't know it as well as some of the others, but it's actually also really compressed and horrible sounding, like Vapor Trails. I only noticed when I put my really expensive headphones on. So I've never really enjoyed it that much. There's a lot of distortion and yeah, they just didn't seem to get past it once they've released Vapor Trails, because the next one is the same. Snakes and Arrows. This one's really good. Again, they don't really have any bad albums as such, but I just cannot get past the production on it. It's really ugh. I'm not a huge fan of the production on it. And this is a music video interactive thingy, one of only 25,000 or something. It's pretty cool. So next we have Fly By Night. That feels like, oh no, Fly By Night. What can I say about it? I mean, again, it's pretty good. I like it. Vital and the Snow Dog, obviously. But I don't know. I just always felt they were still sort of finding their sound, and you know, it's good. But and again, with their debut album, it's good. I really like Working Man. In fact, I like the whole album really, but it as a lot of people say, it's very Led Zeppelin-y, which is fine by me. I don't mind that at all, but it's just not up to par with the rest of their stuff. But at least the production isn't terrible. Next we have Hold Your Fire, which gets a lot of slack for its horrendous, atrocious 80s period thingy. I don't mind that so much. I quite like the fact that they were like embracing modern technology, or modern at the time anyway. But it does miss Alex's guitars quite a lot. So yeah, not my favourite, let's put it that way. Next we have Test for Echo, which I like. I believe it was made at a pretty tumultuous time for the band. Didn't Neil's wife or daughter just been killed? I'm not sure on the history. I'll be honest, it's only here because this is probably the least well known of their albums. I've probably listened to it the least, so I should probably listen to it a bit more really, but hey ho. Next we have Vapor Trails Remixed. This, I guess it counts. It was in the discography list for Discogs, not Discogs, Wikipedia and stuff. I appreciate the fact that they made a remix, obviously, otherwise I wouldn't have bought it. But to me, it's still not brilliant. I've always felt that they probably should have just re-recorded it from scratch or something. You can still hear that they've sort of, like, you know, tried to turn it down, but not really. It is better though. But there we go. Next we have Power Windows. It's a pretty good 80s album. You got Big Money. And what's the other one I really like on this album? Is it Manhattan Project? I think it's Manhattan Project or Marathon. I can't remember. I have to be honest. I like this album, but it does tend to sort of mulch into one. And again, it's very 80s. So a lot of people give it a lot of slack. But I don't think it's too bad. Could be worse. Let's put it that way. Next we have Caress of Steel. I like this. This is Rush sticking it to the man and going, we will write long songs. And they're really good long songs, but they're not as good as some of their later albums. Although I do like the really long Fountain of Lamneth album. What's really weird about this CD, now I know it's not bootleg or anything, but the back cover looks really badly printed, but I got it in HMV, so, you know, either HMV was selling bootleg CDs when I bought it, or it's just that they couldn't copy it properly, because the front looks fine. Anyway, getting a bit on a tangent there. Next we have some early 80s, well, 1984, it's kind of mid. Really like this one. Red Lenses, Aftermath, Red Sector A are all really good, and the rest of the album's pretty good, but Red Sector A is definitely my favourite. I love that funky, drummy, bassy guitar thing that's going on. Then we have Signals. I always mix between these two, I can never decide which one I like more, but Signals has got Subdivisions, and New World Man, The Analog Kid, and just like loads of cool songs basically. And it's got a cute dog on the front too. So it's actually a Dalmatian. Yeah. Next we have Presto. This is the very end of the 80s, and they've started to embrace the guitars again, but they keep the keyboards. So they're I think they kind of were like, oh yeah, Alex is being left out here a bit, we need to bring him back in, and they did. And the production of this album is really nice because it's really spacious, there's loads of space but power at the same time, and that's why I like it so much. Plus it's got Presto and Superconductor and Anagram and Red Tide on here, all the songs that I like a lot. Oh, and Show Don't Tell as well, which is the opening song, and it's got bunny rabbits on it. But it's the production for me that makes this, and most of the early 90s stuff as well. Next we have Permanent Waves. Yeah, this has got Spirit of Radio, Free Will. It's actually only got 6 songs on it. It's quite a short album. But again, I really quite like it. It's just before they went into their sort of 80s period. Having said that, Moving Pictures is the 80s, and that's considered their best album at the time. Right, next we have Hemispheres, which is part of a, I don't know if you call it a double album, but you got Hemispheres and Farewell to Kings, which are kind of linked albums. This one's got Circumstances and La Via Strangiato on it. I think that's, oh, La Villa, sorry, I don't know, well, that song. And obviously the really long Hemispheres album. I've got a horrible glare in my screen, you can't actually see the album covers, that's annoying. So yeah, I really like this one. What I like about them, funnily enough, is that they're not too long. They're sort of, it's just enough to get you in there, and then you can listen to it again, and then again, and then again. So, like, yeah. Oh, here we go. Here's Farewell to Kings. This one's got more sort of hits on it, like Xanadu and Closer to the Heart, but overall is like a much shorter album. Xanadu is actually 11 minutes long. It's weird. I've never noticed that it's that long. But Cinderella Man's pretty good as well. It's kind of a sort of a ballad. It's got like a ballady chorus. And then you've got the beginning of Cygnus X1, which is cool. And although I don't think the cover is as good as Hemispheres. Again, those two I can swip around on different days. I can never quite decide. Then we have 2112, which is obviously, I actually prefer the second side of the album, to be honest. And there's nothing wrong with 2112 itself, but they also released Passage to Bangkok, Twilight Zone, Lessons, and the other two as well, which are all like hits for me. So quite often I'm like, I'm just going to listen to side 2 because I've got it on record as well. So yeah. Next I have Roll the Bones from 1991. Really like this. I I like the bass sound, I like the drum production, I like the production of the whole thing. I like the song Roll the Bones, Dreamline, Bravado. The whole album for me is just really good. It's like a real return to form. Some of you probably wondered why I've got these before some of their more classic albums. It's possibly because I got these before those, because when I bought the Rush discography, I wasn't really aware of Rush. I actually got them because someone went, oh yeah, you like Dream Theater, you should check out Rush. So I went, okay, bought a couple of Rush albums. I think these were the first ones, and so they're kind of just, you know, a bit nostalgic for me. So yeah, Roll the Bones is a good one. Then on top of that, I like Counterparts. Is it yeah, Counterparts. This is I like even more. Possibly because it's got Leave That Thing Alone on it, which I can actually play on my own bass guitar. But it's just a great album. The production isn't quite as good as on Rush and Presto, but I think some of the songs are better. But yeah, overall I really, really like it. And then, last but not least, it's kind of obvious really, is Tom Sawyer. I mean, it's classic and I love it. It's really good. Limelight, which I can also play on my bass. YYZ, I'm not American so I say Z, which I'm learning to play but struggle. And obviously the title, not the title track, Tom Sawyer as well. And that is basically my ranking. Again, it kind of changes from time to time depending on how I'm feeling and all that. So yeah, happy birthday Alex Lifeson, Rip Neil, Per. I've never known if it's Pia or Per, I've heard it pronounced both ways, but Rip drummer Neil P. Thank you for watching. If you like my videos and want more content on CD reviews and music discussions and all that stuff, click like and subscribe. Please feel free to comment on anything, preferably constructive criticism. I apologise for just farting. I have no control over it because I have an ileostomy and I'm incontinent technically. I wasn't going to mention that, but because it just went really loud, I felt I had to. Anyway, thank you for watching, and I'll be back very soon with some actual reviews. Goodbye.